Today, we're going to be going through a basement secondary suite conversion in Toronto, and this is actually the final phase of a three-part project. The first one being the main unit upstairs, the second one being the laneway suite in the backyard, and finally, it's the showtime for the basement apartment. So in this video, we'll dive deep into Toronto basement secondary suites. We'll break down what you need to know, how the numbers are like, and extra tips to help you maximize your success if you take on a project like this. If you're new here, we're all about helping you make smarter real estate decisions in Toronto. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you find our content helpful. Now, let's dive in. So, what exactly is a secondary suite? Well, basically, it's a fully self-contained unit inside a single-family home, complete with its own kitchen and bathroom. Now, let's rewind a bit and dive into the project timeline. We started by giving the main house upstairs a makeover, followed by constructing the laneway suite, and we left the basement apartment for last because we needed it empty while building the laneway suite for servicing reasons. Plus, it just made more sense for cash flows and capital to rent out the laneway first before tackling the basement apartment. Now, let's head on site and take a look at the finished unit. This is technically a 1+ den basement secondary suite, and the reason why we decided to do this is because we really wanted to maximize the rentable space in the unit. And there are requirements in terms of the living, dining, and kitchen room sizes, and for one bedrooms, they are slightly smaller. And what we ended up doing is we have smaller appliances to accommodate a smaller space, and so that we can have more bedrooms. So as you can see here, this is the den, which could technically double as a second bedroom for some people who are okay with smaller bedrooms because it does have a window, but it is smaller than a normal bedroom. Moving on, let's take a look at the bathroom. We ended up going with very modern finishes. What's really cool is the LED mirror. It has a backlight, which can change color, and the other cool feature is that it is heated, which helps it from fogging up when people take hot showers. And the other thing that I really like are the massive tiles that we have on the floors and also the walls of the shower. It makes it easy to install, but also easy for maintenance and cleaning as well. All right, let's take a look at the official bedroom. This one is a lot bigger than the den, obviously, and we also have a closet here as well. Last of all, we have the mechanical room, and perhaps this is where all the interesting things that people don't really pay attention to, but cost a lot, end up being. For example, spray foam is flammable, so for fire safety, one thing that we would have to do is paint a special type of paint to prevent the spray foam from being flammable. And the other important thing in here is the duct smoke detector, which detects whether there is smoke inside the duct that runs throughout the house. So if there is smoke inside the ducts, what it does is it shuts off the systems in the basement and prevents the smoke from entering the other units within the house. So basically, there are a few things that you really need to look for if you were thinking about adding a secondary suite in the basement of a house. The first thing is ceiling height. As you can see here, the ceiling height here is very high, and one big cost when it comes to building a secondary suite would be underpinning if your ceiling height is less than 6 foot 5 inches. What happens is that underpinning does cost a lot of money, a lot more time, but it also might involve other trades as well, which continues to add to the cost of the underpin. For example, you might have to redo all of the plumbing, redo the HVAC. So these costs really add up, and you're looking at north of even $100,000 just to do the underpinning. So if you end up finding a house that has the high ceilings already, probably for around the same price as well, you might as well save this money so that you can use it better elsewhere. The second thing you want to see in a secondary suite, if you're to create one, is an entrance to the basement, ideally a separate entrance to the basement. If you don't have one, it would be a huge headache to figure out where you are allowed to build one. For example, if you wanted to build one on the side of the house, chances are if you don't have enough setback between your neighbors, that's not allowed. It is permissive in the back, but it's not always possible. And either way, it does add a lot of costs to your construction project as well. The third thing you need to keep in mind is that you need to have sufficient size windows in the living and also in the bedrooms, because these are both fire requirements and building code requirements. If you end up not having big enough windows, then you'll have to enlarge it and you might open another can of worms. If the distance between your house and the neighbor's house is too close, then you end up having to fire rate the windows. And you can't actually get these readily in Toronto. Even if you can, it does cost substantially more than normal windows. And also basement size is pretty important too. Ideally, you want to find a big enough basement to maximize the number of bedrooms you can have in the unit, because the construction costs and the design costs and the permit costs don't really differ all that much, but your rents can be substantially different. So having more bedrooms can really maximize your ROI. Let's shift gears and look more closely at why secondary suites. Now, your first question might be, when should you take on a secondary suite build as opposed to a bigger triplex or fourplex conversion that we typically talk about? Well, for one, it is cheaper and quicker to create a secondary suite, and this might be your only option if you are capped by capital. It is also realistically more common because it appeals to a broader audience, both end users looking for extra rental income to pay for their home mortgage and also from investors. Now, here's another thing. When you're dealing with 2 units or less, this project is actually considered a house. But once you venture into triplexes or bigger, they're actually classified as buildings, and the rules do get tougher. Take exit requirements, for example. Each unit requires either one separate exit or 2 shared exits. And in the case of a secondary suite within a house, the second shared exit can be an egress window. However, if it is within a building with 3 units or more, the second exit needs to be a door, so it is definitely less flexible. Now, when it comes to numbers, there's also no right or wrong here, but it really comes down to your investment goals, whether you want to maximize cash flows up front or you're trying to shoot for better total ROI at the end. If you're focusing on maximizing cash flow, then opting for more units will be the way to go. You can rent each 2-bedroom unit for $2,500 a pop, or a 4-bedroom unit for $3,600, so it typically does make more sense to split a home into more units. Now, if you want to maximize potential ROI, then it could make sense to go with just 2 units. Think about exit strategy. Not only will you attract buyers who are investors, but you will also attract buyers who are end users. And in a hot market, end users typically do pay a better premium, so you could potentially get a better return on investment. Now, to give you a better idea of how the numbers actually compare between a secondary suite conversion and a triplex conversion, let's go through the example. Picture this. We buy the same single-family home for $1 million. Now, with the secondary suite conversion, construction costs are lower if there's no need for major structural work, around $50,000 to add a basement apartment. Now, if you are efficient, the timeline involves 1 month of drawings, 2 months of permits, and 3 months of construction. Now, once everything is complete, you can rent the main unit and the basement unit total together for $5,300 a month. After paying for your mortgage payments and operating expenses, you're just slightly above break even each month. Now, for the same house done up at the time of purchase, market comps might be around $1.2 million, so you end up with a value add gain of $150,000. Let's say you hold onto this investment for 5 years and then sell. Then you would be looking at a total return of $370,000 on a $285,000 investment, and that translates to an ROI of 129% or potentially even higher in a hot market. Now, let's say you convert that property into 3 units instead, and in this case, you would have higher renovation costs and a longer construction timeline. However, the rents are better, totaling $6,700 a month, and that gives you a cash flow of $1,400 per month. Realistically, comps are probably still around $1.2 million after renovations, but that does translate to a lower value add gain because you put in more renovations, but you do end up getting better rental income. So in the end, your total returns do come in at $395,000, but with a higher investment of $335,000. So this gives you a slightly lower ROI. So as you can see, it does boil down to whether you prioritize immediate, reliable cash flows, and in that case, you would go with a triplex. Or if you're trying to shoot for better long-term return potential, and in that case, you might go with a secondary suite option instead. Now, if you are thinking about diving into Toronto real estate investing and tackling a renovation project, our team has got your back. Our real estate sales brokerage is all about investing in houses in Toronto, so we know what it takes for a successful renovation. How it works is when you buy with us and take on a renovation project, even though you will have to actively manage the project yourself, we help you plan it all out, connect you with our reliable trades contacts, and be around to guide and problem solve whenever you need it. Plus, we know our numbers and can help you project investment capital and returns to help you lower your investment risk and maximize your returns. To discuss your private real estate situation with us, just head over to this link here to set up a time to chat. You can also check out more content on our website or find us on social media. And if you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, and share this video if you think someone else might like it too. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!